Well, hello Lionhearts, your old pal Jordan the Lion. Welcome back to Paris. Well, today what we want to do is I want to go and check out where Marlene Dietrich lived. She was a German-born actress. I mean, she was a legend. She was in Touch of Evil. She was in Shanghai Express. She was very, very legendary. She was a dual citizen of Germany and America, but she lived her last 10 years here in Paris. And there's a pretty interesting story about what she did in those 10 years and what happened to everything that she had after she passed away. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. So we got to take the train for this one. All right. So we have about a 10-minute walk from here. Oh, that's cool. Check that out. That's the Grand Palace. This looks so cool. I had to come by and show you guys. Didn't they do a great job with this? Oh man, too bad we didn't come like 2 weeks later. Could have seen this Michael Jackson exhibit. Kind of appropriate. They have the Square of Berlin on the way. I think that's where she's buried, I believe. Well, I'm definitely shocked by the name of this street up here. Take a look. How great is the centerpiece of this square? Let's take a look. Man, that is ornate. Well, we've definitely found the right street. Avenue Montaigne is the street. I just saw this in the sidewalk. Well, we have to pass by Dior to get to her place, if that tells you anything about the neighborhood. Normally I wouldn't show window displays, but these Louis Vuitton ones are pretty cool, so I'm going to show you some of them as we walk down the street. Christmas tree. Well, we've made it to where she lived. Now it's Prada. But right above here used to be the last home of Marlene Dietrich. On this floor, and was pretty much bedridden. She had lost the use of her legs. They had pretty much deteriorated away, and she would stay in here, I mean, as I read, basically getting drunk and reading books. And inside those books, she had about 10,000 books inside of her apartment. She would leave notes. She would make annotations in her handwriting and everything. And I'll tell you why, I just mentioned that later. But she would stay inside here, and she would, they said she would get drunk, cut her hair with cuticle scissors, dye it with like weird dyes. So she was just, I mean, she just sounded like kind of a mess. Now, what her daughter, I've kind of read, said was that she kind of thought it was a, almost trying to stick it to her daughter at the end, because when her daughter was younger, Marlene never wanted her daughter to grow up, and wanted her by her side pretty much indefinitely forever. And she was a real control freak, as I understand it. She had some really great qualities as well, but when it came to her daughter, she just didn't want her daughter to ever move on. So at one point, when her daughter wanted to start dating, one of the stories I read was that Marlene had a friend. Marlene was bisexual. She had a friend, a woman that she basically had try and take her daughter's virginity. And I don't believe it happened, but shortly thereafter, her daughter started dating and ended up marrying the guy that she dated. And that kind of put a big rift between the two. So Marlene would live in this apartment reading books and, like I said, commentating on them. And when I saw a picture of her apartment when she died, right on the very top of one of the stacks of books in her living room was Shelley Winter's book. I had to start laughing when I saw it. So she had like 10,000 books, and basically all of the books she would either put X's in the books, kind of like denoting that there was something important to be learned there, or she would write her opinion in the book. And so when she ended up passing away, her grandson had to come and clear out the apartment. And he ended up donating all of the books to the American Library here in Paris. Now they parceled out some of them to Berlin, where Marlene was from, and then a few of them that were really collectible, like her copy of Mein Kampf and some first editions, they sold to collectors, but the rest of it they just put into circulation. And so her daughter said, you know, that her mom would exaggerate later in life and say that that her daughter never came to visit her the whole time she was here. So her daughter said that she did come and visit, but her mom wouldn't really accept visitors on any other level. She didn't want friends, basically cut herself off from the world. Now, like I said, she did have some really great qualities, and one of those qualities was that when John Gilbert, the silent film star, died, he basically drank himself to death, and she was the only one that was, she was his girlfriend at the time, and she was the only one that was really there for him. And when he died, he didn't even have the money for a headstone, so she paid for his headstone. But this right up here, they showed pictures of the inside of her room. It was basically a bed, and they said that she would go to the bathroom in whatever container was nearby, probably because she couldn't walk, but also probably because at that point she just didn't care anymore. So the apartment was just stacked full of books mainly, and just kind of a disheveled mess. So now I wanted to go over to the American Library, and I wanted to see, I found a couple of the titles that she had left notes in, and I also found what she wrote in those books. So I want to see if any of them are still in circulation. They said as of like the middle of the early 2000s that they were still in circulation. So I want to go over there and see if we can find some. And I did see that she had windows in her bedroom, so I believe this was her bedroom right here. That her bed would have been right in between one of those windows right there. Now, one of the things that I thought was really fascinating was that when they were clearing out her apartment, they found a bunch of letters that she had collected over her life, and she had had an ongoing correspondence for like 2 decades with Ernest Hemingway, all the way up until he died, and their correspondence back and forth was all sex related. He would tell her in the letters what he wanted to do to her, pretty descriptively, and they were basically friends till he died. They said that she had letters from him leading all the way up till when he passed away. Wonder what happened to those letters. I thought this was worth showing off. The Theater of the Champs-Élysées. There's the Eiffel Tower. Here's a statue of the Seine. And right next to it, right over here, is the Seine River. And we're gonna take a trip across the Seine River, so you're gonna get to see it now. And there's the Seine. Oh, cool. Look at that. Well, here it is. I don't know if we'll find anything, but I think it's worth a try, and I think it'd be fun to find something if we do. So first off, I came in and found out this is a private library, but they were nice enough, even with me not having an appointment, they have set aside a lot of Marlene's collection. A lot of it is in circulation. Some of it was given to a library in Berlin, but a lot of these were ones that had interesting annotations or little notes that she wrote in it. So they're actually going to let me take a few of these and go into a conference room and show you some of the notes in there. And she even has like a bunch of books about her, and she's left notes in there as well. So how I found out about this story was actually an article in the New Yorker, and they said here that that was written directly with the library here so that everything was factual. Now they don't do what I did, which is just show up and ask to see the stuff, because it's, you know, they're busy and they were just kind of letting me do this because of my situation. But if you want to see this stuff, make an appointment. But they have actually cataloged everything so that it can be found. And I had one request. I said I had read about her copy of Love Scene. Do you happen to have that? They did. They had it right handy. So this is really interesting. This was a book that Jesse Lasky Jr. wrote. He was the son of one of the founders of Paramount, about Vivien Leigh and Laurence Olivier's love life together. Now, everything that Marlene had owned, they put one of these inside. And they said occasionally they do have like book sales. They don't sell anything that she wrote in, but they will have this in there. So it's proof that it was owned by her. Now, if you go to, this is what was so fascinating to me. If you go to this very first page, it says, this is, without a doubt, the worst writing I ever laid eyes on. And that's Marlene Dietrich's handwriting. Now, this one wasn't mentioned in the article or anything, but they actually pulled this out for me because they thought I would get a kick out of this, and I did. Check out what she wrote in this. Right here in the book, Eddie kind of insinuates that he had an affair with her, and it says she was aware that ours was an unusual relationship. She underlines unusual, and on the side it says, "You said it, kid. We never met." Now, this collection, basically what happened was, like I told you, that her grandson called them, offered to donate thousands of books, and within hours the books arrived here. Now, like I said, they have cataloged what are the more interesting books with her handwriting in them. This one was one that I really, really liked because she used to leave notes all over the place, and if you look on just the spine, you can see how much writing there is on here. You can see that there's different color. She made little annotations all over it. This is a book about her. The bottom she wrote ridiculous. She wrote what? There was one really great one. I'm trying to be very careful because these are paperback books, but you can see right here on this page it says, "Not true. She was," I can't read what that says. Let me see if I can find another one. Oh, here she put all untrue. Everything is not true. So she's going through the book about her and she's just annotating how much is not right, not true. And then she put, "I hated cats all my life." There they're talking about somebody. She says, "Who's this?" How fascinating, right? I thought this was so cool. And I mean, big shout out to the American Library here in Paris. Like I said, this is a private library. You have to have a membership or pay for a, you have to pay for like a day pass. And when I told them what I wanted to do, they were so cool about it. And they were nice enough to basically pull out a few things and let me show it. And I can't thank them enough. I think this was pretty cool for people like us who just love this kind of history to know that in this library, her books are circulating with the card in there. You know, she may not have written in all of them, but pretty freaking cool. Now this part's in German, and she underlined something right here, and then at the top it says, "What biography? Did I ever steal?" Then this page says, "Who is Ted Flicker?" Now, I didn't want to ask them to pull out every book that I had read that she had written notes in, but I did see that in the collected works of Shakespeare, she wrote some things, and I really just wanted to see Love Scene. I had read about that. I thought that would be really interesting to see, and they were nice enough to pull it out. This is a collection. This is basically the annotation of everything that was donated. Now, this is really interesting, Geth, because her father died when she was young, and she became obsessed with reading his works, and actually they said that she used his writing as her guideline to like ethics and morality, and used to make a lot of annotations in the books of his. So he was heavily respected in her life. And then they also showed me that in 1992 they put out a newsletter talking about how Peter Riva was her grandson right here. Says, I'm going through my grandmother's estate and have hundreds of her books in cartons. So that's how they all came to be here. So they just brought these out to show me, and this is really interesting because Olivia de Havilland, we all know who she is. I mean, gosh, Gone with the Wind, of course, but she is a lifetime member here. And she had at one point a collection of letters. They didn't get them here, but they were on display at one point. What she did was she had actor friends of hers and actresses write down books that had meaning to them. Now, these are both books that Olivia wrote. It's the same book, but I thought this was interesting. She has written notes in both of them. This one says, gift of the author. Oh, this is what I loved about this. Look, Larry Edmonds Bookshop. We've been there how many times? There's a note written from her from 1976. It says, to the American Library in Paris. And then inside of this one, this is the one that says, this book is gift of the author. And then when you get to the first page, also to the American Library in Paris. With warm regards, Olivia de Havilland. And they did say they haven't seen her here in a while, so Olivia, if you're watching this, you're welcome to come visit anytime. Wow, how incredible was that? I can't believe that they were so cool and so nice that they would go out of their way on I think I showed up an hour before closing and they were willing to take the time to pull those things out. They could have very easily said, hey, it's just short notice, we can't do it. Like I said, don't do what I did and just show up. I just didn't know. I didn't know any better. So they actually mentioned to me a couple other things they have. And I said, oh, I would love to vlog that in the future. So in the future, I will contact them and they'll be able to have stuff already ready. And big ups to the American Library here in Paris. That was so nice of them. When I told them what I was doing and just trying to keep this history alive, they couldn't have been nicer about it. Wow, that was so cool. We were in there for quite a while. Actually, like you can tell, we're losing daylight now. I decided to stop and get something to eat before our next stop. And some coffee, of course. Well, I ended up getting the Pizza Royale. I know you're thinking, you went all the way to France to get pizza? The cheese here is just better. It just tastes better, so I'm curious to see how they make a pizza. So we have one more Marlene Dietrich stop to make. Then I have something I want to end the vlog with that is not related to her. Let's cross the bridge again.
Can you read again?
Now, unfortunately, there's no statue or anything to remind people that Marlene Dietrich lived here, and like I said, she lived those last years bedridden in solitude, reading everything she could find and running up a $3,000 a month phone bill, keeping herself occupied. There is one little piece of remembrance here other than what was donated to the American Library. That's what we're gonna go see now. And there it is. That's what we were looking for. I'll show you. Well, right here on the corner, they've designated this place Marlene Dietrich. Lived for 91 years. How about that? 1901 to 1992. And they actually put one of those plaques on every corner, on every building here. So now we're headed to our last stop on the vlog today, the Flame of Liberty. Even President Wilson gets remembered here. Well, here was our last stop for today. Now somebody literally just put this down and it says, you are standing before the perfect replica of the Flame of Liberty, statue erected in this place, Avenue de New York, in 1987 as the symbol of the Franco-American amity, with the support of the International Herald Tribune. This is where Princess Diana was seriously injured in a car crash down the tunnel. Exit front of you. She passed away on August 31st, 1997 at dawn. As a result, of course. You want to talk about beloved people, she was at the top of the list. I mean, she was championing sick and homeless and people with AIDS in a time where that just was not, that was not the norm to speak out and support those things. That's probably what made her so popular. The Flame of Liberty, dedicated to Princess Diana. You can see right here they have all kinds of memorial photos, and people are leaving all kinds of things for her. And there's a picture of her on the side. The Flame of Liberty plaque right there. Now the reason that it's located here is because right beneath us is where she was being chased by paparazzi into this tunnel. And I mean, I guess you could say she was murdered. They were chasing her car at high speeds and caused the car to crash. So unfortunately, they decided, you know, to do a memorial. Not unfortunately for the memorial, but unfortunately because of the circumstances. So everyone that drives into that tunnel will see this above them. Well, we're gonna end it here, my friends. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night and goodbye.